What is the enemy of creativity? What is the thing that stops inspiration dead in its tracks? Some say limitations, others say a lack of time. Some may even say it's perfectionism or negativity. But if one thing I know kills creativity right in its tracks, it's burnout. Burnout sucks. It's something every artistic person has felt in one way, shape, or form, no matter what you make. The worst part is, not only does it stop us from pushing forward on whatever current project we're working on, but it can stop you from ever doing those activities that felt easy and enjoyable ever again. The amount of times I forced myself to get a video done, writing done, anything done, only to feel like I physically cannot, that's burnout hitting me in the face with a baseball bat. Even when you're yelling at yourself to continue on, burnout has a way of stopping you dead in your tracks. Perhaps we need to try something else. Relax. Maybe even have a cup of tea. In case you didn't know, I am a bit of a workaholic, and I tend to push through the pain, whether I stay up late making videos, or trying to squeeze every last ounce of productivity I can out of the day, even when I know it wouldn't help me in the long run. And that's exactly how I felt when a random cozy game came along and taught me the importance of taking a break. I remember hearing about Wanderstop in the Summer Games Fest for 2024. It was advertised as a cozy game where you work at a tea shop making tea for various customers. It looked quirky enough, but as soon as I saw it was a cozy game, I nearly dismissed it, as I was already kind of done with cozy games like Animal Crossing and Story of Seasons. The genre at that point to me was already feeling hollow, and I was overall just done with it. One could say I was burnt out on cozy games. This was just another one for the pile. And then this happened.
I can stop running now. I can stop. I can stop. I can stop running. This is good for me. I need to enjoy this. I feel good. I'm happy. I'm happy. I'm happy.
Combine that with the fact that this was made by the creator of the Stanley Parable and Beginner's Guide, and music from the composer of Minecraft? Oh yeah, this I gotta play. Apparently, I submitted a request to get a review copy for this game as soon as I could. I said this because I wound up getting gifted a copy for the PS5 by the developers, shortly before the launch of this game, long after it exited my mind. Yes, they provided me with a review copy, full game and everything. I have to legally disclose that. But still, I will provide my honest thoughts on the game, both good and not so good. How does this cozy game stand out among the rest? Is it even right to call it a cozy game? I'm not sure, but let's find out. The game starts out with the story of Alta, the reigning champion of the arena. She's worked hard to get here, training relentlessly, never taking a break, barely even sleeping, all in order to climb her way to the top and become the undefeated champion. She prides herself on dominating her opponents, never losing once. Until she does. She finds herself losing fights over and over again, until her sense of worth dwindles and is nearly non-existent, getting worse and worse, the pain growing more and more. God, this is already hitting home and I haven't even started the game yet! This opening cutscene features some fantastic stills and animation, and wonderful voice acting from Alta herself, voiced by Kimberly Woods. The music fits the tone perfectly, and again, these visuals really hit a chord on the state of mind Alta has in these moments. The opening visuals of the swords piling up on her back are especially powerful. It left me speechless. No cozy game has ever started like this. This game's gonna wreck me. And I'm here for it. For Alta to go back to her former self, she must journey to the forest to find Master Winters who can train her. But something isn't quite right. She notices herself getting more and more tired. The sword she once swung so effortlessly was now heavier than ever as she drags it through the forest. This isn't a metaphor at all. It's not long before she tires herself out and loses consciousness. Fade to black, and we wake up on a bench in front of a tea shop. Here we meet Boro, the owner of Wanderstop, a tea shop in the forest for weary travelers, lost adventurers, and everything in between. Alta can't lift her sword, even if Boro can, leaving her feeling stuck. No matter how hard she tries to leave, she always winds up back here. Boro suggests that she could work at the tea shop until she figures out what's going on. And Alta, of course, wants nothing to do with that. But she can't leave the forest, and there's that whole extremely heavy sword thing to deal with, so what else can she do? And so the true game begins. An arena champion facing her greatest challenge yet. Taking care of herself and making tea. The horror of it all. I know the narrative section took quite a bit to get through, but I wanted to take the time because it's such a great start to the game. It beautifully sets up the stakes. We know the motivation of our main character and why she's here in the first place. Usually with cozy games of that genre, you'll be lucky to get a crumb of a story at all. So having our protagonist be here for a reason, and a powerful one at that, can be extremely intriguing. It also helps that unlike most cozy protagonists, she doesn't want to be here. She actively loathes this tea shop. She's used to a life of fighting, training constantly, and now she makes tea? She complains, she mopes. She says she'll go crazy if she doesn't have anything else to do. It's not only humorous, but it shows great moments with Alta, Boro, and all the other characters that wander into the shop. But more on that later. The character design of these two is really cool. You get a true sense of who they are before they even say a word. And yes, I know people are going to make the jokes in the comments, so I'll do it for you. Boro looks like me. You have no idea how many people told me this when getting footage for this game. And you know what? We're both pretty handsome gentlemen. The shop itself and the field around it looks absolutely gorgeous. The visuals aren't super detailed. You're not seeing skin pores or anything, but the artistic style gives off a whimsical yet otherworldly vibe. Like you're in an area of peace personified, with a homely cottage in the center of it all. It's so sweet and atmospheric, and it really does leave a strong impression, while at the same time never getting too boring to look at while the game progresses. I know we're already pretty deep in this video, but let's talk about how to make tea. In a video game where you make tea. When it comes to cozy mechanics, it can be a bit complicated. First, you get tools. There's a basket for collecting leaves, a watering can to... Come on, you've played a cozy game before, you know what this does. A broom for sweeping leaf piles, and clippers for getting rid of weeds. Making tea is a central part of, you know, running a tea shop. And to do that, we have to gather tea leaves around the outskirts of the shop and turning them into tea balls with a machine. Nothing too crazy there. We also have a gardening system that cozy game veterans might find more familiar, where we plant seeds and grow fruit. By planting seeds in certain patterns, we can unlock new fruits to use with our teas. We can either make small hybrids for the purpose of getting more seeds, or large hybrids that create the actual fruits themselves. The trick here is to mix and match the seed colors together, creating all sorts of combinations. The game makes it easy on us by automatically displaying the hexagon we'll be planting in. If there's any confusion, well, we have easy access to Boro's guide to planting, all with the tap of a button. This part made things a lot easier for me, and I quickly wanted to dig deeper into what combos I could unlock. What fruits could these seeds make? What happens if you mix this with this? It was magical and even had some whimsy to it. But while the garden has a hint of whimsy, the tea shop is practically busting with it. My god, just look at this tea machine! The giant tree of tubes and machinery not only looks cool, but turns our leaves and fruit into delicious drinks. You climb ladders, pull the lever, crunk! Pull the lever to make the water drop down, heat it up with a bellow, kick a valve to send the hot water into a diffuser, add whatever fruit or objects we like, slap chop another valve, then pour the tea into a cup of our choice. Truly an incredible machine. It looks like something from a Willy Wonka factory with how convoluted and, I keep saying it, but whimsical it can be. Especially with all the tea colors that come from the different fruits. I want to reach into the camera and just try the tea myself. The magic doesn't stop with the tea room either. There's the tea ball machine that dries leaves and makes them into tea balls. There's this waterfall dishwasher where your cups can ride this little silver track and come out of this gold track clean in the next room. How did Boro make all of this, I wonder? Plus, there are little details like being able to place plants and trinkets from your adventure around your shop, a book room where to store books you get from others, or my personal favorite, empty frames where you can not only get photos from customers, but even you get a camera where you can take photos of your own. It isn't the most complex photo-taking software, just zoom in, zoom out, and click, but it gives you a somewhat ability to customize your tea shop. It's rather nice. But who do you make the tea for? Why, the wandering customers, of course. And honestly, they are one of my favorite parts about the game. There are a lot of unique characters in both design and dialogue. A lot of the best parts of the game shine here. Usually we encounter travelers that are on their own adventures dealing with their own problems. Regardless of their situation, they're getting tea one way or another. Each and every one of them is memorable in their own fashion. Characters like Gerald the Knight, who loves his son Timothy and wants to be appreciated by him. But also has a curse growing on his leg, oh no. Or how about Nana, the sassy vendor who always speaks her mind with tough love and the promise of economics. Alta even meets some people directly inspired by her in the form of wannabe gladiators or starry-eyed adventurers, excited to meet their hero in the flesh. Our job at Wanderstop, however, is to talk to them and make them tea. Some of their requests are simple enough, heck, a few could care less about what you give them. I would like some hot water, please. I'm parched. Other requests require a bit more thought to complete, but that's to be expected. Then there are requests that are weird. Like they wanted book tea, so I had to throw a book in to make the tea. Talk about Reader's Digest. It depends on each person. And in a way, making tea is just a way to get them to open up about their experiences. It's entertaining to learn these motivations and see how Alta responds to them. I found myself growing very attached to some of these characters, and wanting to know how their stories would turn out even long after they left the shop. Plus, we see how our character Alta grows when meeting them too. Eventually, customers will run out of things to say, and once you get tired of looking at each other with blank stares, literally they just stare at you and that's how you know it's your time to move on, Boro suggests that this would be the perfect time to head out of the altar near the shop and meditate. This is a pretty clean way of closing out each chapter, and where a lot of the character growth from Alta comes from. This is where huge story stuff happens, so I won't go too deep into it. I want you to play this for yourself after all, but afterwards, you wind up at the shop with a new batch of customers, more seeds, and more for our personal recovery journey. There's no rush with getting their requests done. We can take as long as we want. It takes the cozy approach of taking as long as you need in order to gather ingredients, grow fruit, find tea leaves, sweep around, and of course, try the tea you make. Oh, you thought the tea was just for others? Honestly, some of the best narrative parts for the game come from when Alta sits at the bench trying tea flavors of her own. Depending on the flavor, we learn about her past, her family life, what inspired her to be a fighter, and more. It's some of the most vulnerable parts of the game. And again, you hear more of the stunning vocal performance as Kimberly Woods really just sells the authenticity of how she feels after drinking each cup. It makes the moments incredibly memorable. The music absolutely captures this game's feel too. A soundtrack can make or break a title, but the soundtrack for Wanderstop gives off less of a cozy vibe and more of a quiet, healing feeling. Like you're aware something is broken, but you're working on fixing it. Many songs accent the moments perfectly, illustrating out a character's personality to a T, or adding the perfect atmosphere to a setting. I wouldn't expect anything less from the musician behind the Minecraft OST. Well, what else can I say about the game? Well, a game like Wanderstop does have a lot of quirky things going for it. For example, there are these penguin-like creatures walking around, and they will often give you items like trinkets, tea seeds you never picked up, or other items you never put in your inventory. They are adorable, and you can pet them. Oh look, they drink tea too. So cute. But careful though, because once they've had a taste of your leaf juice, they will constantly be in your shop, begging for you to give them more tea. Leave me be, you penguin parasites! The tea is for the customers! You also find these lost parcels, which you can get put in the mailbox, and often you'll get replies if you do. Sometimes those responses are pictures you can put in your shop, or more often, books. These are actual books written in the game, usually decent reads that you could just read in your own time if you wish. In fact, there were quite a few books. A lot of the writing styles remind me of the Stanley Parable, and had a lot of silly and goofy moments. While I think you should read most of them on your own if you want to, there is a really important one. The Book of Answers. This is essentially a hint book if you're struggling to meet a specific request. It'll just straight out tell you what people want. It's very helpful for the perfectionists out there who want the comfort of doing the right thing. Or you could not use it entirely. Heck, you could even use it as a tea ingredient if you like. It's all up to you in the long run. There's no wrong way or punishment for doing things. This is how you and Alta heal. That's not to say it's perfect. It does run into some common cozy game pitfalls at points. A lot of times I found myself wandering around from place to place, wandering to get tea leaves, wandering to get seasoned fruits, and wondering why it's all so time consuming. One thing's definitely true, Alta never skips leg day. My biggest gripe with Wanderstop has to be the lack of inventory space. In a game where gathering the right things is crucial, I found myself running back to the shop, dumping my inventory on some shelf, and heading right back out because I still needed to get something important for a customer. It's not the worst distance I've experienced, but it still was very annoying. One final thing to mention, while this game is described as a cozy game for the most part, it's not, at least not in the traditional sense. Sure, there are definitely elements from the cozy genre, but I wouldn't call it a cozy game, and that's a good thing in the best way possible. This game has the cozy formula of making tea for others, sure, but narratively, it's not afraid to explore darker topics. Things like dealing with the subjects of burnout, pushing oneself too hard, feelings of self-doubt, and many other issues that are far from cozy. A lot of people turn to this genre as a distraction, a way of getting away from feeling sad and turning to a much cuter and more comfortable escape. Healing is not cozy. It can feel messy, terrifying, and true healing is not an easy journey for many. But the way Wanderstop does this, that's my favorite thing about the game by far. I think my biggest problem with cozy games is at the end of the day, they leave me feeling hollow. I love a good narrative in the games I play, and with the genre, it can often feel like it focuses too much on just being cheerful and comfortable. This positive vibe can give you a temporary rest, but at the end of the day, it doesn't confront the things we're distracting ourselves from. This game takes the mechanics of games like Animal Crossing and Stardew Valley and uses them for magnificent storytelling. It really hits me in the feels, and if I'm being transparent, I related to it more than I wanted to admit. I felt for Alta, putting in her all day in and day out, refusing to sleep so she could use her time to be better at what she knew she was good at. There were several times I felt called out by the writing and how she thought of fighting because her journey paralleled mine. Sure, I wasn't fighting gladiators in an arena, but I did put loads of hours into writing, editing, and publishing videos, pushing myself to be as productive as possible, all while working a completely different job on top of everything else. It's the story of a warrior going through burnout, and Wanderstop felt like looking through a mirror. I gotta admire the game for feeling effortlessly relatable like that. I could go on and on about my thoughts on the game. Plainly, I am impressed with this game, and especially how moving it is. You can tell there is a lot of love and heart here from the developers, especially in the narrative department. It is one of the most perfect representations of Burnout I've ever seen in a video game, and it manages to tell the story with patience, kindness, and a soothing tone to match it all. This is a gem worth playing, whether you like the cozy formula or not, and I highly recommend it, especially if you love the Stanley Parable. I hope this makes its way onto Switch 2 as well, as I feel this game would feel right at home on a portable console. If you are looking for a quiet game to relax in, or a game that moves your soul and does so with all the charm it can, Wanderstop is sure to brew a delicious gaming experience. I don't know about you, but I'm in the mood for a cup of tea.
Book tea.
Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. If you like what you saw, be sure to hit the like button, leave a comment, and check out my other videos too. Special thanks to all the people who helped me out with the video. I couldn't have done it without all of you. Also, an extra special thanks to my Patreon patrons, including Mantelferox and Savacom. If you'd like to join the Patreon, the link is in the description below, along with my Blue Sky, Twitch, and Instagram. Thank you so much, and I'll see you all in the next video. Have a good night.